Welcome to Wellywood Wargaming, where the grim dark never sleeps. Crack open a bottle of wild snake and spark up a low stick as we take a journey down Underhive.
Howdy folks, and welcome back to the third installment in my top 10 weapons and war gear items of Necromunda. This is the special weapons episode. Before I get into it though, please do like, share, subscribe and check out the Patreon if you'd like to support me further. In at number 10, we have the indomitable Meltagun. I had to put it in here just because it's such a scary weapon in the right hands. The Meltagun is available from the trading post at rarity 11 and 135 credits. So it's certainly a rare and expensive item. However, it is available on many house lists as well. And this weapon really is for taking out incredibly tough targets with a single shot. It's very, very scary in the right hands, like I mentioned, but 135 credits is on the expensive side, which is why I've put it in at number 10 here. It is short range 6 inches, long range 12 inches, so it's effectively the same range as a pistol. You do have to get up close and personal with the Meltagun. However, if you do get up close and personal, it's particularly nasty. We have +1 to hit at short range as well. It is strength 8. Strength 8, which is wounding most things on a 2 generally, -4 AP, which absolutely shreds any type of armor in the game, including heavy carapace, by the way, and it has damage 3 as well. So again, multiple damage, high strength, high AP. This thing, if it hits you, you're just dead. It's really that simple. It's ammo 4+, which is actually remarkably good. However, it does have the scarce trait as well, meaning that you can't reload it if you do run out, but it's still a 50-50. A tactics card might come in here to be able to reload this thing, but the melter trait is what really shines on this thing. So this applies to short range hits. So if reduced to 0 wounds, any injury dice are automatically out of action. So you don't even need to worry about it. If you're at close range, if you're rolling injury dice, the target is out of action automatically. And that is why the Meltagun is very, very scary indeed. In at number 9, we have a Palanite Enforcer special, and one of my favorite weapons in the game because it's just a little bit different to everything else. And this is the Concussion carbine. For 30 credits, and again only exclusive to Palanites. I do apologize, no other gang can get this, but it's a really, really cool weapon that I think is worth talking about. The Concussion carbine is 9-inch short range with 18-inch at long range, so similar to a shotgun almost, with +1 to hit at that 9-inch range as well. It's only strength 3. It's -1 AP though, which is quite nice, and it's only damage 1 as well. It's 4+ on the ammo, and it is a blast 3-inch weapon. So this thing is really good. If you give it to someone with average ballistic skill, it means that you can still pop a template around up to 18 inches away, which is pretty nice. You can target people in cover with it. It also has 3 traits here. Concussion, which is -2 to your target's initiative, meaning that you can knock them off gantries and stuff, which is really fun with this. It also has knockback, which adds to that as well. If you knock back someone into a wall too, you can get that extra damage, which is really juicy. And it also has seismic as well, which is really, really good. It means that if you hit a vehicle, it's a loss of control test, but also a wound roll of 6 ignores saving rolls as well. So seismic is really good here. The other thing about seismic is it automatically pins the target. So this gets round corpse grinders, it gets round nerves of steel as a skill and just automatically pins your target. So this is a really interesting tactical weapon which might not hurt stuff all the time, but is always pinning and always knocking them around. So I really do like the concussion, blast, knockback and seismic all combined on this weapon. It makes the Concussion carbine really, really appealing to me from a tactical perspective, and that's why it's in at number 9. In at number 8, we have the long rifle. The long rifle is just an absolute classic Necromunda weapon, and pretty much most gangs are going to want to take a sniper. Certainly in a shooty gang, it's worth taking a sniper on most gangs just to sort of balance things out, and the long rifle is the sort of go-to option for a snipey sort of guy. So these things are only 30 credits, by the way, which is really good value for a special weapon. It's a lot cheaper than most other special weapons, bar maybe the long las, but I do think the long rifle is better than the long las in most cases. It is 24 inches at short range and 48 inches at long range, so you can really reach across a board with this. It's also +1 to hit at long range, but not at short range. So this thing is definitely more effective all the way across the board at long range. So really, really good that. We do have a strength 4 as well, so it's higher than your average strength sort of weapon, which is really nice, wounding most targets on a 3. We also have -1 AP as well, which is also really good. Only damage 1, but it does have 4+ ammo and knockback. So again, you can queue things up and you can knock people into walls to get that extra juicy damage. I've taken out many targets with long rifles. If you combine this with skills like Overwatch, Infiltrate, and Trick Shot, as well as infrasights and things like that, this is the ultimate sniping weapon, and this is why I had to put it in at number 8. Most gangs are going to want a sniper, and this really is your default option for sniping in Necromunda. In at number 7, we have the fire pike. Now, I had to include this here because when I first got my hands on the Book of Faith a while ago, my favorite book, by the way, and I read this on paper, it didn't really stand out to me as a particularly scary weapon. However, I then used it in a subsequent campaign, and the amount of damage and chaos and carnage I caused with this weapon was ridiculous. Now, this is only available for your redemptionists. It's 140 credits, but it's basically a much better version of a flamer. 140 credits is expensive, but what this thing can do is just horrific. It's still a template, so much like your hand flamer, your web pistols, things like that. You've got a template here, so you're hitting people in cover, and that can be really nasty as well. This thing is strength 4, so you're wounding, again, most toughness 3 targets on a 3. It is -2 AP, which really does make the difference over the average flamer. I think the -2 AP there is just the icing on the cake. It gets through most armor types very, very easily indeed. It's only damage 1. It's ammo 5+, and it has blaze, of course, which again, setting your targets on fire on 4+, especially if you catch multiple targets, can win you a game fairly easily, actually. And then, just to sort of further rub salt in the wound here, we get rending as well. So, you know, if your wound roll is a 6, then it's +1 damage. So -2 AP, rending, strength 4, and blaze, I think, is a very, very scary weapon on a redemptionist. You know, when you've already got a bunch of blunderpoles running around, the fire pike just makes blunderpoles seem pretty sort of mundane by comparison. The fire pike is very, very scary, so go and use it. In at number 6, we have the Grav gun. The Grav gun is available for most people at the trading post at rarity 11 and 120 credits. I think the Grav gun, similar to the Concussion carbine, offers you a little bit more tactical option. It's also really nasty if it actually wounds you as well. It is 9-inch at short range, 18-inch at long range. So again, a fairly short range weapon similar to a shotgun. It's +1 to hit at short range, and it doesn't have a strength characteristic at all. It's -1 AP, but that doesn't really come into play either. It's 2 damage, again, multiple damage always being particularly scary, and it's 5+ on the ammo as well. It's blast 3 inches though, so you've got a little pie template that you can chuck around, and anyone caught in that blast gets concussion and graviton pulse as well. So concussion is really good. You know, it's -2 initiative to you, so you can knock people off gantries really easily. And also graviton pulse, which is pretty nasty. If it wounds you, you don't get any save whatsoever. Also, the template stays in action for the rest of that round, and anyone moving through the graviton pulse is at double movement basically, or minus movement should I say. It costs 2 inches for every 1 inch that you want to move through, meaning this is quite tactical in using it. You can gum up corridors and you can stop people charging you and getting those extra inches they need to move forward and get position on you. So again, it's quite a tactical one, and I've used this to really good effect a number of times. You can get the Grav pistol or you can get the Grav gun. Personally, I prefer the Grav gun because it's just got that longer range on it, and I do find that really important. So I had to include the Grav gun in here. It is a little bit expensive for what it does, but it's still damage 2 and it's still a blast weapon, so it's absolutely a really good one, and that's why I included it in the top 10. In at number 5 is pure heresy, and this is the Balefire thrower. I mentioned before how the fire pike was really scary. Well, this is much, much scarier. It's 120 credits at the trading post at rarity 9, so it is fairly easy to obtain one of these things, and I feel kind of bad if I get one from the trading post. In fact, I'll probably stop myself from getting one at the trading post because these things are really nasty. Again, it's a template weapon. It's basically a flamer here. It's a strength 4 template, -1 AP. However, we have damage 2 here, which just is really nasty. A strength 4, -1 AP, damage 2 is horrific on its own right. We have a 5+ ammo. We have blaze again, so targets are getting set on fire. And just to, again, add further insult to injury here, we have Cursed. So if the target fails a willpower check, they gain an insanity marker, which is almost worse than being on fire. But if you're on fire and insane, that is just the end of your night. And that is why I had to include the Balefire thrower in here. This one's awesome. This is a Xenos weapon, actually, and it is just bananas. When I look at this weapon on paper, I'm like, what on earth is going on here? But it's really, really good. Definitely try it out in a game. I did, and I am a convert. I really, really like this weapon. This is the Neural Flayer. It is exactly how it sounds. It's 90 credits and it's rarity 13. So it's actually really hard to get hold of at that rarity 13. But if you get one for 90 credits, I think it's absolutely worth it. This is a template weapon with two different profiles. The first profile is the Short Blast. Now, it's a flamer template with no stats whatsoever apart from the ammo of a 4-up. Then you get a bunch of different traits. We get Concussion here, which gives you that -2 initiative. We get Esoteric, which means that this weapon can't be upgraded or any sights put on it at all, which is fine. We don't worry about that. Then we have Flash as well. So anyone caught in this template, if they fail an initiative check, they lose their ready marker like a photon flash grenade. I love photon flash grenades. They are absolutely my favorite grenade in the game, but we'll talk about those in that episode. And also it has template as well. So Concussion and Flash on a template with a 4+ ammo. It's pretty good, right? You know, it's not too bad. Is that really worth 90 credits to not do anybody any damage? Probably not. But then you have the Full Blast. So this is where it gets really fun. Again, the same template. However, this time the ammo is 6+. We still get Concussion. We still get Esoteric. We still get the template. However, here we get Fear. So instead of suffering an injury roll, the target must pass a nerve test with -2 modifier or immediately become broken. So, you know, -2 initiative and potentially broken. We also have Flash. So again, an initiative check and you lose your ready marker. So you're broken, you lose your ready marker, you're at -2 initiative. We have Gas, which is, again, really, really nasty. So if it doesn't send you absolutely loopy and running around the corner screaming for your life, it really hurts you with Gas too, which you can't be... You know, you can't save against gas either. It also has Pulverize as well, which is a really weird trait to have in here. Gas and Pulverize interact weirdly, but, you know, after inflicting injury roll a d6 if the result is equal to or higher than the target's toughness, or a 6 before modifiers, change an injury dice from a flesh wound to serious injury. So, I mean, it's a lot of traits to keep track of, but the fact that it's Fear, Flash, Gas, and Pulverize and Concussion, 5 traits on one weapon, you've really got to figure out how that actually works. But I just think for 90 credits, if you can get hold of that thing, it's a lot of fun to use, and I'd nearly always be using it on the Full Blast there just to absolutely ruin people's day. Really fun one there. That's the Neural Flayer. We're into the top 3 now, and I had to put the grenade launcher up here. The grenade launcher used to be a lot better. It did get a sort of recent nerf in how you target stuff, so I think you're now -2 to hit if you just want to target an open space. However, you did used to be able to do that at no negatives at all, and it was a little bit broken. The grenade launcher, though, is available for many gangs, and at the trading post, it is 65 credits at rarity 8. The grenade launcher is a really, really good weapon still, though, because you can give it all of the different grenade types, and there are absolutely masses of grenade types to choose from. If you do buy a grenade launcher from the trading post, though, you do get frag and crack grenades, and I'm just going to go through the sort of general stat line for these now. The frag grenades are 6 inches at short range, 24 inches at long range, with -1 to hit at short range. Again, you're never going to be using this at short range unless you're mental. They're strength 3, damage 1, no AP, 6-up ammo, which is the real downside to grenade launchers generally, but that all-important 3-inch blast template is just so good. You also have knockback on these as well, so if you get things right, you can knock people off stuff or into walls for that extra damage as well. The frag grenades are still brilliant, especially when you can ping them up to 24 inches away. So the grenade launcher absolutely has to be in here. And again, you get reduced cost on these things for certain gangs as well. We then have crack grenades though. So if you want to shoot a target that is a bit higher in its wounds or its toughness or anything, then you're going to probably go with the crack grenade. This isn't a blast sort of template. It is the same range. So we get 6 and 24 with -1 to hit at short range. However, it's strength 6, -2 AP and 2 damage with a 6-up ammo there as well. So higher damage dealing, but it's just a single shot at a guy as opposed to the blast 3 inches. Most of the time you're going to be using the frag, but if you really want to hurt somebody, you'll be using crack. We then have choke, flares, plasma grenades, photon flash grenades, scare gas, smoke grenades, and stun rounds as well. I think there are a couple of others that you might be able to include there too. But I just think the grenade launcher is still one of the best special weapons in the game, certainly for just control of the board. Using smoke grenades with it is particularly good. Using photon flash with it is particularly good. And it just adds a really nice way of playing the game, as long as you're not spamming these things, by the way. Most gangs benefit from having a grenade launcher, and that's why I had to put it in at number 3. Again, I reiterate, it was really hard picking the order for this top 10, but I think at number 2, I'm pretty happy with what I've got here, and that is, of course, the web gun. So the web gun, similar to the web pistol, is very, very scary. However, the web gun is even better. You can get this from the trading post at rarity 9, and it's 125 credits. You do get it cheaper for House to Lack, though. It's worth mentioning, for 115 credits, and it's absolutely worth it because this gun really can win you an entire game. It's a template similar to a flamer or a web pistol. However, what we have as an upgrade on the web pistol is strength 5 instead of strength 4. So again, wounding Obgrins with a web gun on a 4 is pretty damn good. It's 5+ ammo, it's silent, it's template, and it's web again. So anything that's wounded by this is automatically counting as seriously injured. You also get to try and capture them at the end of the game as well. It's really, really nice. You know, the thing that takes the edge off this as well is if something does go out of action as a result of a web gun, it's only out cold. That's worth mentioning. It is a special rule with the web trait, which does take the edge off being webbed and having half of your gun just taken out immediately. But the web gun has to be in there at the top of this, and I think it's deserving of spot number 2 in this list so far. Right then, number 1 for the special weapons, and I think everybody would have guessed this would be here. It has to be the plasma gun. The plasma gun is one of the best weapons in the game all around, whether it's special, basic, heavy, whatever. I just think the plasma gun is an incredibly effective, high damage dealing, excellent weapon at, I must say, quite a cheap cost for what it does. It's rarity 9, it's fairly easy to get hold of. Most house gangs have them on their house list as well. And it's 100 credits, which I think, honestly, is still a bit too cheap. No gangs get discounts on this, thankfully, but 100 credits in the hands of something with high ballistic skill or spring up or nerves of steel is really nasty. So I do think 100 credits is too cheap. I would probably cost it around 130, and I think it would still be a very good weapon, but 100 credits makes it an excellent weapon. So what we've got here is similar to the plasma pistol, except just much better, basically. So 12-inch short range, 24-inch at long range on the low profile at +2 to hit, again at that short range. We've got a strength 5, -1 AP, and 2 damage with 5+ ammo here. It is scarce though, which is a downside, so you cannot reload this thing if you do run out, unless you have a tactics card or similar. What we have here though on the pistol is rapid fire 1, and this is where the plasma gun gets really good, because putting out 3 strength 5, -1 AP, 2 damage shots is absolutely going to take out most targets, and that's on the low profile, so there you go. If you do happen to be mental and have balls of steel, shoot this thing on maximal and you get the following: the same short and long range with +1 to hit at short range instead of +2, strength 7, -2 AP, and 3 damage at 5+ on the ammo there as well. It is scarce and it is unstable, so you know you're quite likely to blow your own guy up, but if you absolutely positively want to kill every MF in the room, then the maximal is the option for you. That's it. That's my top 10 special weapons in Necromunda. What do you think about this? Please do comment down below if you disagree with any of this, or just to get the conversation started down below. And please, once again, do like, share, subscribe, and check out the Patreon as well. I'll be back with the next installment real soon. Peace out.